Thank you for watching Live and Local KWN TV.
Welcome to Sheriff's Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7. Join us every week as we talk various aspects of law enforcement and how important it is for the citizens and law enforcement to work together. Now join us for another edition of Sheriff Talk on KWN Live and Local TV Channel 7. And welcome into this week's edition of Sheriff Talk right here on KWN TV. And we're glad that you've joined us around the tri-state area as we take a look at law enforcement in the Marion, Dade, Jackson, DeKalb County, Fort County area. And I've got a couple of good law enforcement individuals here with us today. Sheriff from Marion County, Sheriff Bo Barnett, along with Lieutenant David Hughes with the Dade County Sheriff's Department. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good deal. We're going to talk about who knows what all in this hour. We're going to get an update on a couple of stories that Mike's been working on. I do want to talk with the two guys here. There was a officer-involved shooting in North Georgia this week. We'll talk a bit about that, not specifically about the case, but about the dangers of stopping a vehicle, or this particular case, and we'll talk about it coming up, where they had received a be on the lookout, or a BOLO, about a shoplifter at a local Walmart, and then that led to one of the officers having to fire his weapon, and everybody was arrested, and finally got to. But I want to talk to them about dangers of traffic stops and what we need to know as citizens to be able, if we do have a law enforcement officer get behind us, for whether they're a local police department or a sheriff's department or DNR, state patrol, how do we need to react that would make the officers feel safe? Because I think that we can talk about that coming up as much as we can, and so we're going to talk about that. There's the 3-state, 3-mountain bike race.
Correct.
I know it involves Marion County, it involves a little bit of Jackson County, it involves Dade County. Yeah. And I know Lieutenant Hughes has kind of been he's been the Dade County go-to as far as coordinating that bike event. So we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up. It's just around the corner again, isn't it?
May the 7th.
May the 7th.
First Saturday in May.
All right, a lot of bikes. So we're going to talk a lot about these and other things with law enforcement around the tri-state area as we take our first break. We invite you to stay with us. When we come back, we'll get an update on a couple of stories that we're following here around the tri-state, as Sheriff Talk is on the air on KWN.
Hungry? How about lunch at Cloud's Pizza, Highway 71 in Higdon? Weekdays, Cloud's Pizza serves their delicious hot vegetable bar. How about the best burgers and fries around? And yes, pizza. Make sure to get an order of their famous cheese sticks, homemade with fresh dough and Wisconsin cheese. And don't miss Fish Fry Friday, catfish, hush puppies, and more, all for just $8.99 Friday, 4 p.m. to close. Cloud's Pizza, Alabama Highway 71 in Higdon, 597-3100. Open till 8, Monday through Saturday at Cloud's Pizza.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College wants to help put you to work. Our programs in business, health, industrial, and public service will train you for the jobs available today. GNTC offers schedules in day, evening, and online classes at 5 campus locations with financial aid options too. You are sure to find a career path that works for you with our variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates available. Visit us in person or on the web at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College. Your career begins here.
At Gross Furniture in Trenton, Georgia, you get the savings, the selection, and the satisfaction of getting the furniture you deserve at the prices you want. Come in, relax, and take your time. Our staff can assist you with the entire process, from expert advice to professional delivery. That's because Gross Furniture is local and treats you with honesty. Just north of the Courthouse Square on Highway 11 in Trenton. Gross Furniture, the home furnishing store that offers you more.
A small bank with big service. Citizens Bank and Trust, offering a wide range of services, including online banking. Pay your bills, manage your account anytime, 24 hours a day. Your account balance is only a phone call away as well at 657-1234. Or visit our convenient locations. Lookout Mountain, Georgia, Higdon, Alabama, and our main branch on Highway 11 in Trenton. Citizens Bank and Trust, 657-5678. A community bank that believes in the community. Citizens Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey everybody, bacon is back at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
That's right, it's Little Caesars Bacon Wrapped Crust Deep Dish Pizza. Our 8-corner pizza topped with pepperoni and bacon and wrapped in more than 3.5 feet of bacon. Get a large today for just $12. Little Caesars Bacon Wrapped Crust Deep Dish Pizza is available all day. And it's available hot and ready from 4 until 8 every day. Little Caesars, Highway 136 West in Trenton and 411 Kimball Crossing in Kimball.
Last year, I didn't go to H&R Block. But this year, I can go to Block and pay half what I pay my other guy. You can switch to Block and pay half too. Half price is a better price when you think about it. So follow us. We're going to H&R Block.
Switch to Block and pay half.
Join us for the Radio and TV Classified, weekdays at 9 a.m., 8 Central on KWN TV. Welcome back to Sheriff Talk around the tri-state area here on KWN. Today, several things we're going to talk about on this week's show. But first, Mike is standing by. He's got a couple of stories that he wants to update us on here in the news. Mike?
All right. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, not a lot going on since last we met. But the one of the stories in the Mountain Valley Independent you can take a look at is one we reported on first on Monday morning that actually happened late on Friday. A stolen trailer and some other items from the Ider area of DeKalb County were recovered in the Dawson area just below there. DeKalb County Sheriff Jimmy Harris telling us that his investigators, along with the Ider police, got some tips about a stolen trailer and some other items at a location there in Dawson. Investigators got a search warrant for the resident. During the search, investigators recovered a trailer and other items worth an estimated $30,000 stolen from the Ider area. The trailer there in the left-hand picture, you can see not a small trailer, a pretty good-sized box trailer there. Daniel Glenn Bradley II, who's 27, of Dawson on the right-hand side there, was arrested and charged with theft of property in the first degree. The stolen trailer and all the items returned to their owners in the Ider community. Moving up the page, of course, we have had some indictments handed down by the Dade County Grand Jury. 21 true bills, in fact, handed down in the October session, which is coming to an end, by the way, the October 2015 term that lasts about 6 months. The Dade County Superior Court Grand Jury concluding 21 true bills and no bills of indictment there. And during the session, the members of the grand jury got a report of the Dade County Child Abuse Protocol Committee from Amy Reed and also an address from Sheriff Ray Cross for the grand jury. Those bills of indictment were handed down against those 21 people. You can visit the Mountain Valley Independent at discoverdade.com right now and take a look at the actual bills themselves, the defendants and the charges against them. That's in the Mountain Valley Independent at discoverdade.com. Updated around the clock, and you can follow the information anytime by following us on Facebook at KWN News Now. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you there, Mike. Appreciate that update. And that just reminded me something to ask you, Sheriff. On your indictments, like our grand jury in Dade meets like once a month, and they consider the cases that are brought to them that month. And that was the term, or that's just ended, but it's a 6-month term. How do y'all work on your indictments?
Grand jury meets 4 times a year. They'll
Okay.
meet first Monday. I believe the next grand jury's first Monday in May. The DA's office being there. 90% of the people that go for the grand jury are police officers. They'll just assign them a day, and we try to do it all in one day. Then what grand jury week works is an officer will come in, sit down, and present his case to the grand jury. They may do 2 or 3 cases, then everybody has to go out of the room. The foreman has them vote on it, and then go on to the next few cases. Then it usually takes about 4 to 5 days before we get the indictment down from the clerk's office.
I know that was similar. I mean, Dade and Lieutenant Hughes can probably remember, we used to do twice a year, and the grand jury would be convened for
if we did
1
twice
week.
a year, we would be.
Well, it used to you'd come all week long, and you'd hear cases every day. And since I believe it was Judge House.
But if you had a real high-profile case, I mean, it may sit there for months.
6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normally because we've got 2. We've got a spring and a fall term.
I mean, they get drug out long enough as it is. If you had another Because typically there in Marion County, and if it's like a murder charge or something, typically it takes a year and a half, 2 years before you go to trial.
Right. Well, it's the same.
People
way
ask
here.
me why it's so slow, and I said, I've been in law enforcement 35 years, and I still can't figure that out. It's just a lot of times you have motions filed by attorneys. Of course, we have circuit judges, and they're usually there 3 or 4 times a month. So if you have a motion filed, it may be 3 weeks, and then they'll put it off. It just goes on and on and on. But murder cases do drag out forever.
Well, I know you could probably talk about this. I know, and it's probably the same way there, that sometimes, like if you send evidence off to the crime lab, it takes sometimes months before you get the evidence back.
Yeah, it's quite a process that when you send it off to the crime lab, a lot of times, well, in the past, I don't know how it is now, I think they may be getting more caught up. The crime lab even had to outsource some of the materials to private labs or whatever to process the evidence, because they were just so backlogged with like right now we have certified people at our department that can test marijuana, and they go to a GBI class. They go through the whole I think it's probably like a 2 or 3 week class that they have to go through, and they can actually test marijuana here on site at the Sheriff's Department, which decreases the backlog, and it decreases the time that you have to wait for results to come back from the state on that. And we're getting evidence, I believe, getting things back pretty on a timely basis right now. But yeah, you're right. It could take as much as if it's DNA evidence. A lot of the things you see on TV are, the case is solved in an hour. Well, it doesn't happen that way. It could be 2 years before you get DNA evidence back, and it just takes a time. I mean, it's not that they're holding us back or anything. It's just that
a lot of times it's manpower and budgets.
Correct.
You probably never heard of that,
I never hear about budgets, man. We had a TBI had a crime lab in Chattanooga for years, and they closed it down probably 6 or 7 years ago. So now we have to take ours to Nashville, and probably once every 2 weeks, an officer will have to drive all the way to Nashville and submit it. And they're behind in Nashville because of you think about it, every sheriff's department, TBI, police departments in the state, and there's only one lab in Nashville. So
wow,
it may be a DUI case. It probably takes the alcohol results takes 4 to 6 weeks, and they don't do the things used to. You get a physical piece of paper back with your name and stuff on. Now it's all done by computer and
emails,
things like that. But also, if you request drugs, and you're talking about another 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, so 3 months to get a drug results back on a DUI, and like fingerprints, things like that, it may take 6, 7, 8 months.
That's why it's so important and why the deputies now, we have to be very meticulous in our report writing, in documenting, to keeping our files, keeping them up to date, because it could be as much as a year or longer before that case actually went before a jury, if it goes before a jury. And keeping all of your records and everything the videotapes in order it's absolutely a necessity, and it's important for the case to be able to.
Because you get in court and you don't have your file, and courts don't care if it's been 2 years ago.
And that's what refreshes
your memory. You're the one that's going to look bad, not the courts.
That's what refreshes your memory, is how meticulous you were with the report and putting all the details in it.
Well, I think technology's probably helped y'all all, being able to, have video, to be able to have documentation that's stored electronically. I mean, it's kind of helped the process of being able to recall something pretty quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct. It has.
To be able to do that. And I know most of the courtrooms are now got the technology that you can bring things up on the picture, up on the screen and up on TV.
When I started, you remember those little cameras where you put the thing in and you make a picture and it spit it out, and you had
a Polaroid.
Yeah, trying to think.
There you go.
I found one at home the other day. I was telling you, we was having our floors redone, and I had to move a lot of stuff out, and we found a Polaroid throw back in the shelf. And
that may be an antique.
It is. I put it up to keep it, but I can remember years years ago, when the crime scene had to take those pictures and you'd wave them like that to get air.
Yeah, they had to dry.
Make them develop quicker.
That is.
Some departments, if you had that, you were uptown right there.
Now you date your sheriff. You live in Terrell.
It is what it is.
Heard that. Yeah. Well, you turn that around to experience. That's what. That's a lot of years of experience. But yeah, I mean, technology has definitely changed, and now you got digital cameras, and you got things that you can, preserve energy. Excuse me. The evidence for where it used to be kind of hard to be able to do that.
I don't know if you could even buy film for one of those cameras now or not.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. I don't even think they make it. Maybe in a foreign country or something.
See, and now we're going to body cameras, which it's some great technology. It's like 3D. And it's some outstanding quality that they have on these body cameras and things. So, and it actually leaves nothing to question. I mean, it's right there. All the evidence and what happened is just right there on the tape.
I think I believe that's a good thing for two reasons, and it won't be because of why they came about. It will be because I think it's two things. It solidifies the fact that the crime was committed in a lot of cases, and it protects the officer. Mm-hmm. That's the way. I mean,
the only problem with body cameras right now is every department's got a different policy. There's been no standard policy set. Some departments, when you turn the camera on, that's probably the biggest question. Some departments, I've been reading up on it. I'm looking at body cameras maybe next year, but some departments, they stay on all the time. Some departments, officer makes a decision. Well, when the officer has to make a decision, then you may end up saying, well, he should turn it on sooner or whatever. But nobody's had a standardized national policy that's accepted by everybody. Like I said, big departments have their own policy and other departments. So I'm kind of waiting around to see if we can get a standardized, policy that's accepted by the courts or whatever. Of course, that may take years to get that done. But
that may be the big thing is, what is the courts.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't, an officer wouldn't want it on. I don't think continuously all day long through his shift. I don't think you want to film him while he's sitting there eating lunch or things.
Probably not.
But then you get into that, then you get into, if you get in a situation, probably should have turned it on sooner or turned it off too quick or whatever. You never know. So it's kind of waiting. I'm just kind of waiting around to see how it's accepted by the courts when there's a big case. And, there'll be a standardized policy, maybe nationwide, and that's when I'll probably go body cameras when we get established policy, because courts establish way court decisions come out usually establish way a policy is set up. So
the body cameras are still kind of a new thing that's still coming out, and the technology is actually it's great right now, but it's going to get better. The cameras are going to get smaller, and I think like you said, there'll probably be statewide standardized policies for states and things that when they start looking at them more. But I think personally, it's not a bad thing. It's like you said, that the liability goes nearly nothing, and somebody can't come up and say, I didn't tell the officer this when they're right on camera saying it, themselves. So,
well, you've seen this already throughout the years, and I'm sure every police department in every county and state now. I mean, you got cameras on your vehicles. I mean, and when you stop somebody, the whole thing is recorded. And
the good thing about a body camera, if you have a situation moves away from the car, you can keep filming it. Right now, you're just seeing what's in front of the car most of the time. So a lot of these situations that cause a lot of problems happen away from the car, away from the camera. So,
well, especially if you were talking about like a search warrant where you're going into a residence where you don't know what's going to be happening. If you had one of those on, it records everything. You don't have to go back and say, what did you see 3 people go out? You can actually go back and look at that video and see 2 people jumping out the window. If that's the case, it may actually be caught.
And there's technology out there that can be. There's even live streaming on some of these body cameras that they have. So if there were a situation of a hostage situation or something at a school or a business, and the lead officer with the body camera, the command post could step back and they could actually see what the officer's seeing as he's going in and doing the search of the building or whatever. So.
Technology is great. I know that it can be used also on the criminals can also use it, and they use it for sure. But technology is a great tool for law enforcement. We're, of course, talking this week with Sheriff Bo Burnett from Marion County and also Lieutenant David Hughes of the Dade County Sheriff's Department. Talking about various things. We want to get into, there was an officer-involved shooting this week in North Georgia, and when we come back, we're going to talk a bit about the effects of officers when they pull people over, the traffic stops, and the safety that's in for the officer and also the person in the vehicle. We'll talk about that coming up. Stay with us. Sheriff Talk is on the air. We'll be back.
Randy's Country Kitchen, open at the foot of Sand Mountain on Highway 136 West in Trenton. Beginning Monday, March 14th, Randy's features extended hours. Open Monday through Thursday, 11 to 9, and Friday and Saturday until 10 p.m. Don't miss the regular buffet every day and the famous seafood buffet on Friday, 4 p.m. to close. Pizza, stromboli, and roasted chicken still available at Randy's Country Kitchen. And you can have it delivered, too, by calling 657-5330. Randy's Country Kitchen, Highway 136 West at the foot of Sand Mountain in Trenton. When you or a loved one is facing a life-limiting illness, hospice care may be the answer. At Tapestry Hospice, the patient is the focus of our care. We're here to serve you and facilitate your wishes. Tapestry caregivers are concerned with managing your pain, keeping you in touch with your physician, and helping you make plans for the future. Hospice is life-affirming, and Tapestry Hospice can help you deal with all aspects of life, mind, body, and soul. Call Tapestry Hospice for more information. 706-383-8812. That's 706-383-8812. Tapestry Hospice. Redefining hope. Morningstar Dry Cleaners, your local dry cleaners, located at 57 Crabtree Street, right behind Door Crisp Realty in Trenton. Morningstar Dry Cleaners offers a drop-off location for after hours and pickup service for businesses. We wash, dry, fold, iron, press, dry clean, and yes, we do alterations too. Now under new ownership, Morningstar Dry Cleaners. Open until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday for your convenience. Call them today, 657-3685. Morningstar Dry Cleaners on Crabtree Street, right behind Door Crisp Realty in Trenton. Get big savings now with Tennessee Valley Net. Tennessee Valley Net's digital television, telephone service, and high-speed internet is now available in many areas of Dade County and expanding to other areas like Edgewood, Piney, Lake Hills, Sligo, and New Salem. Digital television packages are available including over 200 channels. High-speed internet services with 30 meg upload and download available now from TVN. Residential and commercial packages are available. Call now to see if TVN is available in your neck of the woods. 706-657-4367 or visit tvn.net. Looking for that next new-to-you vehicle? Well, Rayburn Cloud at Cloud Auto Sales has just what you're looking for, including a 99 Ford F-250 Super Duty with new tires, big V10 for only $4,700. How about an 06 Ford Expedition Eddie Bauer model with the V8 loaded at $4,995? Or an 09 Nissan Altima Super Gas Mileage with that 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine, only $5,995. See Rayburn Cloud today at Cloud Auto Sales, Alabama Highway 71 in Higdon. 597-3273 for Cloud Auto Sales, and like us on Facebook. The Tax Clinic is now open in a new location as part of the Boss Business Center, 29490 Alabama Highway 71, right across from the ball fields at North Sand Mountain School. With over 40 years of experience, the Tax Clinic provides year-round tax and payroll services. The Tax Clinic urges you to start gathering documents so we can help you file your 2015 tax returns. The Tax Clinic, now part of the Boss Business Center, located at 29490 Alabama Highway 71. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, Saturday 10 to 2. 256-597-3829 for the Tax Clinic, taking care of whatever ails you in the tax world.
It's Rick and Bubba on TV. Every morning at 6 a.m., every evening at 6 p.m., and every night at 11:30 on KWN TV. Sheriff Talk's on the air this week here on KWN. We thank you for joining us every week as we take an in-depth look into what's happening in the four-county area with law enforcement. Visiting today, of course, Lieutenant David Hughes. He is one of the lieutenants over the road division for Dade County Sheriff's Department, and, of course, Sheriff Bo Burnett. There was a couple of incidents. Actually, it was an officer-involved shooting, I believe, in somewhere in North Alabama, not in our two-county viewing area, but in North Alabama. And then most recently, yesterday, if you're watching this live on Tuesday, that there was an officer had to use his weapon in the line of duty in the Fort Oglethorpe, Catoosa, Walker County area. And I wanted to talk a little bit about vehicle stops and some things that we can do as as just individuals, when we have the opportunity to be pulled over and blue lights behind us that we need to pull over, there's some safety things that we can do. First, I want to talk a little bit about this particular incident in Fort Oglethorpe. This was just someone that had allegedly shoplifted from a local store. It was from Walmart. The police officer got a call from dispatch that this car was on the road and had allegedly stolen some items from Walmart. Attempted a vehicle stop. From the reports that we got, there was 3 people in the car. One of the officers stopped the vehicle. One of the persons took off on foot, leaving the other 2. Another officer got there. One of them chased the officer that was on, the perpetrator left on foot. And the 2 people that were left in the car, allegedly, one of them started driving toward the officer, and the officer felt like that he feared for his life, and ended up firing a shot. They later, everybody was okay, nobody was injured, and they were able to get this car and the 2 other individuals. They captured everybody, I believe, but the GBI was called in to investigate because the officer used his weapon. And that's a standard thing. I don't think anybody should ever read into anything, the GBI or the TBI or the ABI is investigating the shooting, because anytime the officer is involved in any type of altercation, you're going to turn it over and let somebody else look at it just to clear your department or who else's department.
It's like a neutral agency that comes in and actually takes all they gather. They don't really make a determination. They just gather all of the facts, all the evidence, and they present it the way it is. It's like a neutral party coming in and doing it, so nobody can say that, that there was favoritism here or there or what was going on with it. So, and GBI, I'm sure it's the same way at TBI. They do a fantastic job.
When we have an incident there, we have an TBI agent signed to Marion County. Of course, we work with him closely. So, but if we have an incident involving an employee sheriff department, we always request a TBI agent from outside the area. I want somebody to come in, don't know me, don't know the officer, don't know anybody, and just be completely neutral. And I tell them good or bad, just present whatever you find out, because don't want to sweep nothing under the rug. If one of my employees has done something wrong, and we'll just have to deal with it. But that's basically what we handle it. TBI does that, and they do a thorough job doing interviews and things. So basically, that's the way we handle it there in Marion County also.
Both of you, I know, Sheriff, you're both of you are veterans in the law enforcement, and you've spent time on patrol, and of course now in administration. Vehicle stops are really when the officer is the most at risk. I mean, there's other times serving search warrants and different things like that, but vehicle stops, like this incident in North Alabama, like this incident in North Georgia, the officer is at risk every time you come in contact, but especially when the vehicle stops.
Right. Your level of awareness or alertness, I guess, for lack of a better word, goes up, and the officers are trying to see the entire picture that's going on here, the passengers, the driver, vehicles in front of them, to their side, or even behind them, and it's like if folks will just realize, one of the biggest things I would say is, like the sheriff said a moment ago, getting out of the vehicle. Just if parties will just relax and stay in the vehicle, let the officer call his stop in and approach the vehicle, and don't be moving around in the vehicle a whole lot. A lot of people will, some people don't keep their wallet or billfold on them or where it's really accessible that way. But if there's a lot of movement in the vehicle, like reaching under the seat, that just brings the officer's awareness up another notch.
Especially if you have a vehicle with 3 or 4 people in it, and an officer in the back seat sees them doing things, he's really going to get zoned in on that, because could be hiding a weapon, could be hiding drugs. So if it's at night, especially at night, the first thing the officer's going to look for is your hands. My suggestion would be, if you get stopped, just keep your hands on the steering wheel. Be nice. Officer, be nice. Just say, he'll usually say, "Why, I stopped you for this, or whatever, because he's driver's license." And just be casual. Don't be, I've stopped people and they say, start off with a confrontation, and usually those things go bad quickly. But I'd say just keep your hands on the steering wheel, because the first thing he's going to look for is your hands. Because where the hands go, that's where may be something, or a weapon, or drugs or something.
Well, even I'll use me for instance. I mean, Sheriff, you know me, but if you stop my vehicle in Marion County, I need to also, even though that you consider us friends and you know me, I don't need to do anything because you don't know who I am.
Right.
If you stop me, you don't know until you get up to the vehicle and can be able to look in. So holding your hands on the steering wheel, just waiting for, I guess wouldn't you say just waiting for the officer to make the moves? You don't need to be making any moves until the officer tells you.
We were talking about off there, about I've had people jump out of the car and come walking back towards you. You don't do that. They don't like that. Nobody likes that.
It makes the officers nervous.
Very
because that person is approaching, and you haven't made contact with them yet, so you don't know who they are, for one thing, what's going on with it. Why are they walking fast towards you? And you're in your vehicle, which puts the officer at a disadvantage at that point, because he's calling the stop in probably on the radio. And the best thing is, just like the sheriff said, is to remain in the vehicle, and the officer will approach the vehicle.
If you keep that person in the vehicle, you have more control over the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If a person jumps out, all of a sudden you're face to face with them. If you've got them sitting in the vehicle, and I've seen training films, things over the year where, there was a trooper that was involved in the shooting, but he did a good job controlling it. But and he was actually able to turn and run because the person produced a gun sitting in the car, and he was able to get away and return fire. But if he had allowed that person to get out of the vehicle, he probably would have got shot. But, he kept him in the vehicle, and that just gives you a first line of defense.
I've actually had other vehicles, and if you stop someone on the interstate, a lot of people travel together. They're going in different cars, and I've had other cars pull up behind me, and this just makes me have to split my vision between the vehicle behind and the one in front. And,
makes you very nervous, don't it?
90% of the time, these are good people. There's no problem.
They
here.
just don't understand.
Maybe been going a little fast or whatever, but and it could be a warning citation, a warning ticket, or a warning, just a verbal warning. But it makes the officers, like I say, your level of awareness goes up whenever you have to split your vision between a car behind and a car in front, and then especially if you've got somebody getting out of the vehicle walking towards you. It's just
doesn't the level also increase even more that when you have multiple people in a vehicle?
Oh yes, yeah, because you're having to watch all of them, and you're having to, when you approach the vehicle, you're having to stand in a position where you can kind of see everyone, plus talk to the driver also. And it's like I said, 90%, 99% of the time, everybody, this is good folks, but that 5 or 1% that you run across could be life or death for the officer. So.
Inside the vehicle, and we're talking about if you get stopped, the routine, a few miles over the speed limit, don't have your tail lights busted, tag lights out, whatever. One of the things also when an officer's talking to you, that you may not have your wallet, but you need to ask the officer, my wallet's in the glove box, or my wallet's under the seat, or can I get my wallet out, where they
practice.
Know,
yes.
Where y'all would know that I'm fixing to move my hands.
Sure.
And it just goes to, and a lot of people don't know to do that. They just say, you have a driver's license. Okay, all right.
Yeah, my billfold's here under the seat,
right,
and you're going, don't do
that. You can see at home, it would set off, if you were doing that, it would set off an alarm to you. You don't want that to be happening.
And that's one thing that I know is, we're having a Citizens Academy here. I think next month, I believe it is.
Yeah, I believe it's starting in April.
That's something that if people are watching, they should sign up for this, because this is one of the areas that we'll go over. And there'll be vehicle stops, and we'll explain a lot of these things, why officers do what they do, why they do that. And it's really an excellent opportunity for people to come out and actually see why they do that, and to ask questions of the officers, because I'll be up there, the sheriff will be there, we'll have officers actually there that are out working the roads, and they can explain to the folks why we do what we do, and make sense of it.
The Sheriff's Academy is coming up in April, and I will say that you can call if you'd like to go in Dade County. Call the Sheriff's Office 657-DADE and ask Mary Ann to give you the information. I think you do have you got to go through a couple of different things.
I think there's a form there, and there's a background check and like that. But I've spoken at just about all of them. I help out with the patrol side, and I enjoy it tremendously. We go through scenarios, traffic stops, some other domestic type calls and whatever, and it's an active class participation type classes here. You're not just sitting there looking at a book or listening to somebody talk. We're actually, the public or the class is actually participating in the class. It's a lot of fun.
He's talking about vehicle stops. Another thing, and we got a break. I may ask you when we come back. Another thing. You may be at a house where a disturbance breaks out, and what do you need to do if you're there? Because one officer is going to come up, and there may be 6 people at that house. I'm going to ask them to talk about that when we come back. Sheriff Talk on the air this week right here at KWN. We'll have more in a moment.
I'm your tailgate grill. Your buddy was in such a rush to get into the game, he didn't quite put me out. I see you bought the industrial-sized bottle of lighter fluid. Smart. And if you got cut rate insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get an Allstate agent and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
There's an Allstate agent right here in your community.
As this year's Easter season approaches, it's time to make your plans to attend the Easter concert at the Rising Fawn Baptist Church. The Rising Fawn Baptist Church annual Easter concert is Sunday, March 13th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, March 20th at 7 p.m. Mark your calendars for Sunday, March 13th and Sunday, March 20th, 7 p.m. each night for the annual Easter concert at the Rising Fawn Baptist Church. Rising Fawn Baptist Church is at 4411 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. The Moore family name has built a legacy of trust, compassion, and peace of mind by standing with families during time of loss. Now in our 70th year, the Moore family commitment grows even stronger, from affordable traditional services to cremation. Our experienced staff stands ready to follow through on you and your family's wishes. Since 1945, the Moore family of funeral homes, North Sand Mountain and Trenton, always dedicated to those we serve. Make your plans to join Dade County Sheriff Ray Cross for his kickoff re-election campaign event. The event will be at the New Salem Community Center, March 26th, 2 until 5 in the afternoon. Dade County Sheriff Ray Cross's kickoff re-election campaign event is a meet and greet fundraiser with barbecue and live entertainment. Don't miss the kickoff re-election campaign event, March 26th, 2 until 5 at the New Salem Community Center. Re-elect Ray Cross, Dade County Sheriff, standing between you and crime. Paid for by the candidate. Folks around these parts have put their trust in the Ponder name for filling their prescriptions for decades. Jennifer Ponder Hicks, Doctor of Pharmacy, continues the tradition of fast, friendly, and personal service at Ponder's Mountain Pharmacy. Ponder's Mountain Pharmacy is convenient to our customers between Dobbins and North Sand Mountain School, next to Northeast Alabama Health Services. Ponder's Mountain Pharmacy gladly accepts most insurance plans, including Alabama Medicaid. When the need arises, have your doctor phone Ponder's Mountain Pharmacy at 597-4020. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Ponder's Mountain Pharmacy.
At Gross Furniture in Trenton, Georgia, you get the savings, the selection, and the satisfaction of getting the furniture you deserve at the prices you want. Come in, relax, and take your time. Our staff can assist you with the entire process, from expert advice to professional delivery. That's because Gross Furniture is local and treats you with honesty. Just north of the Courthouse Square on Highway 11 in Trenton. Gross Furniture, the home furnishing store that offers you more.
Join us every week for Game On with Chris Goforth on KWN TV. Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV. We're visiting today with Marion County Sheriff Bo Burnett, along with Lieutenant David Hughes. He is a lieutenant with the Road Division of the Dade County Sheriff's Department. Talk a little bit about vehicle stops while ago and what we can do if we're subject to a vehicle stop to make the officer feel more comfortable and make things go a little bit better. But I want to expand that just a bit, guys. The fact that if you may be at a residence where there may be a gathering, maybe there's a football game going on, gets a little out of hand, officers are called for maybe a domestic or something goes on, and you're not involved, but you're there, what do you need us to do to make your job easy?
Usually that person that's not involved is a person that helps the police, because, a lot of times, they'll, if you got somebody really highly agitated and mad, if you can identify this guy is not he's there, but he's not actually involved, he can usually talk to that person and make more sense out of him quicker than the police can. So, but usually, you try to separate everybody, because the quicker you can get them away from each other, it don't. A lot of times I've seen 5-10 minutes, the temper goes down, cooling off, and everything works out pretty good. But you got to get them, two parties, away from each other. Usually take them outside, one part outside. If there's two officers there, you don't want to talk to one outside and the other inside. But getting them separated, I guess, would be the main thing, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, with parties that are not involved in it, they make excellent witnesses. They do. If they're willing to.
And they can be good peacemakers, too. I've had them do that.
You'll take each party. What I tell them is, everybody's going to have their opportunity to talk and tell their side of the story. But just everybody try to take a deep breath. Let's calm down. Let's get to both sides of the story, and then we'll go from there and see what action we have to take from there. And like you said, the bystanders, what I try to do, I can only listen to one person at a time here. But I try to make it clear that everybody's going to have their talk. Everybody will have their time to say what they want to, if they want to make a statement, and just one person talking at one time is like the sheriff said. You want to try to separate, and everybody just take a deep breath. And I've actually had them say, okay, I understand you're going to have your opportunity to talk. If you will just right now take a deep breath and calm and tell me what happened. And a lot of times if the officer it makes a difference where the officer is you want to have a calm voice yourself, and talk in a low tone, and that will calm the situation a lot of times down. And
you want to de-escalate instead of
you have to de-escalate things, and then once everybody calms down, then you can hopefully find out what took place and what happened, and make some sense out of it.
Guys, we got another big event coming up that affects 3 of the 4 counties, and that is the what's referred to as the 3-state, 3-mountain bike race. Mm-hmm. And I know they've been coming through your county for a great number of years. Our county here in Dade, they come up the backside out of Nigachek, coming up through Bright, and comes that way. And Lieutenant, you've been kind of heading up the Dade County effort, for the last number of years. Uh-huh. And the 3-state, 3-mountain, it's called a bike race, and then they changed it to a bike challenge. I mean, they've had several different words, and a ride but it's coming again.
It's a bike event, is what.
An event, I've heard that
get
too.
Everybody, so
correct.
But, I found it in my door the other day, where the application to the county for the permit to have it in there, and I thought, that's that time of year again. The dogwoods are blooming, and it's time for the bike event again.
That's right. It happens on Saturday, and it's coming up May
the 7th. Will be the first Saturday in May.
So we're only about 3 weeks away then, depending on when you're watching the show. Now, tell us a bit about the. I think Mike's going to be able to show us the route. Now, they start in Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. And then they come through Marion County, and we know, I guess they go over Ladd's Mountain and over through Nigachek. I'm not really sure where they go up to Bryant that way, right?
I haven't been contacted by them, so I haven't. Usually they hire my off-duty officers to help the traffic.
We do the same thing. Our off-duty officers and the City of Trenton officers help with the traffic. As far as the other in your county or Tennessee or the Alabama, I'm not sure what route they take. I'm concerned myself with when they hit the Dade County line in Georgia, and it's going to be pretty much the same route they've taken. And I'm going to try to schedule a meeting with the coordinators and try to iron out the details on it, just to be sure everybody's on the same page. And we usually have contact our emergency management director, Alex Case, and he will get with the Puckett Ambulance Service and just make them aware of the fact that we've got, sometimes they'll have another truck available that they can send in, just to, in the event something did happen, they can be aware and respond.
Well, it's a good thing you mentioned Puckett Ambulance, because they also cover Marion. So
that's correct.
That's a good thing. Mike, you may have to help us here to kind of give us an idea. I know you got the map up on this ride where it actually comes in. Can you show us where it comes into Marion County, and then take us through the North Alabama? There's the Tennessee River.
I believe it comes the old 41 route along the river.
This is above Prentice Cooper to Powell's Crossroads.
Okay.
So they go all the way to Powell's Crossroads?
So they come across Suck Creek then.
This is down the Griffith Highway here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then they'll go all the way, I guess they go across the river there at Helltown?
Yeah.
Right. And then over Ladd's Mountain, that's where that would be.
Then they'll go up the mountain into Alabama, I guess.
Yeah,
and go through Jackson County and come down into Dade County.
What we call our 301 North.
That's a pretty good ride, ain't it?
It's
40, 50 miles?
Oh, it is. They cover it pretty quick too. Some of these bicyclists are professionals. I mean, they're pros. That's what they do.
They come in from all over the country.
Oh, we had last year. There were some in from England. I think from Australia. I mean, the big attraction they have, or the big thing, is Burkhalter Gap. And this year they are going to have a timed or a timer that they'll be going through. Some of them will be going through at the bottom of Burkhalter, and they'll have another timer at the top of Burkhalter that they'll be going through.
They'd need a calendar for me. A clock wouldn't work. They'd probably have to turn over the day before I get to the top on a bike.
It's a haul getting up Burkhalter out there. So, and we'll have lane closure on Burkhalter. There'll be coned off, and then we will have a pilot car like last year. We'll be taking traffic up and down, trying to, we'll get the traffic through there as quickly as possible, if we can. So, just to try not to inconvenience the public any more than they have to be on something like that. But for safety reason, what works best is a pilot car taking traffic from the bottom up to the top. It's a lot like you see on road construction crews when they have to do a lane closure. They'll have a pilot car that meets in the traffic, and they'll take them by the equipment, and then they'll turn right around and take them the other traffic right back through it. So that seems to work out the best way for us.
Now, there's a great number of bicyclists involved, but in years past, we've had some accidents. We've had bicyclists had to be transported to the hospital, and we've had some serious injuries, really.
Unfortunately, yes. That's I guess that goes with it. There's part of it, but we do everything humanly possible to try to prevent that. Like the county, I think Ted Rumley, he has his crew sweep Hales Gap with their sweeper the Friday before, which gets the loose gravel off of the road that can cause an accident there. So we try to eliminate them as much as possible, the chances for a crash as we can. So.
And I'm sure it's well. You've alluded to the fact that you'll have a lot of off-duty officers, and they actually pay them.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's all paid by them.
And
yes.
they all the same way here. So if you see all these extra officers out, I know that's been a concern in the past. I've heard people say, why are we having to pay?
Mm-hmm. These are all off-duty.
But they do pay off.
They pay the officer. They also pay for use of the fuel and the wear and tear on the vehicles. There's an allotment there that goes in form of a check that goes back to the county, and I'm not sure if it goes into the fuel fund for the sheriff's department, or if it goes back into the general fuel and maintenance fund. But it goes back in, so it's not costing the county or the taxpayers anything on something like this. So it's all the whole bill is foot by the bicycle club organization people.
It's Chattanooga Bike Club, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Put that on. And there is a website that you can go if you'd like to see that entire route, whether you live in Marion County or Dade County, Jackson County. If you've lived here a number of years, this is the 8th, 9th, 10th year. I mean, it's been a number of years.
I lose track. It's been quite a few years. I mean, 6, 7, whatever.
So it'll be coming up, and there'll be a lot of law enforcement presence that day.
Of course, in Tennessee, there's a state law. You have to stay within 3 foot of a bicycle if your cars. If you're meeting a bicycler, you got to give them 3 foot.
Yeah, it's
similar in Georgia.
It's a safe distance behind.
I think the
pass,
state law requires 3 foot. Of course, I've had some incidents in olden years over with bicycle. We had a bad incident at Raccoon Mountain a few years ago. It turned into I actually got to be a national thing. I've got I'm in the middle, and you got the bicycle people over here, and you got the motoring public over here, and then a lot of complaints, and talk about get drugged in the middle of one. I was in the middle of one for about 6 months, but there is a 3 foot law. That's a state law, and it's protect the bicycler, and I guess that brought out a lot. I actually didn't know a lot of that stuff till this incident happened a couple of years ago, and
a lot of people don't realize, other than the interstate, they have a right to be on the road.
They do.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, they have a right.
They do.
A lot of people, I'm sure you do. I hear a lot of complaints of people motoring public. Why do I have to stop here for them? Why can't I? But they do have rights.
The only place that they don't would be on the interstate because it's not a motorized vehicle. Everywhere else, and you have to protect them as well as protect the people in the car too. Mm-hmm. So that is good. Well, it's coming up again. I know Lieutenant Hughes. He always looks forward to it every year. I can tell.
Oh yes.
May the
7th.
May the 7th, and it'll be earlier, of course, in Marion County. So early that morning, you'll see all these bikes, and it usually takes about 4 hours for everybody to get through. 4 to 6 hours.
It's about that. It depends on how many bicyclists they have. Of course, if it's a day like today where it's nice and sunny and 80 degrees, it's I guess more probably will turn out. But they're predicting about 1,400 this year.
1,400, wow.
Which is that's a lot of bikes, and some of these, like I say, will be professionals, and they'll be up in the front probably. They'll move on through quickly.
I've got a bike, but I won't be one of the 1,400.
I'd be like you. They'd have to keep the road blocked for 2 days before I got through with you.
They definitely need a calendar instead of a stopwatch to get me up Burkhalter for sure.
That would be the end of me.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
With my bicycle.
Also, quick reminder: cornbread is coming up.
Yeah,
April the 23rd. It starts.
Oh wow! Golly, that's just a couple of weeks away.
Well, it's about 3 or 4 weeks, I guess.
Oh, well, that's right. We're still in March.
We're still in March.
Yeah, I'm moving.
We're probably about 5 weeks away. But what reminded me about it is the pretty weather and everything. And I was talking to County Mayor yesterday, and I was going to have a car sale on April 23rd, and he looked at me funny, and I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Don't you know what April 23rd?" I said, "I started cornbread." And he said, "Yeah." So I put my car sale off to the next weekend because I'm don't want to compete with the Cornbread Festival.
I heard that. We'll take a quick break and we'll come right back. Sheriff Talk continues after this.
HVAC repair and service you can count on from S&S Service Company, a locally owned and operated business that uses high-quality materials on every job. Call on our crews for regular maintenance, minor repairs, and new installations. Spurgeon is a name that's been trusted for decades, so if you need an energy-efficient HVAC system, we've got you covered with Arco Air products. Arco Air and S&S Service Company. Enduring performance. S&S is fully licensed and serves the Northeast Alabama and surrounding area. Call 256-632-2500 today for S&S Service Company for your HVAC needs. Online at snsservicecompany.com. Citizens Tri-County Bank, the only community bank Marion Countyans will ever need. At 402 North Cedar Avenue in South Pittsburgh, 4765 Main Street in Jasper, and at 14087 Highway 28 in Whitwell, providing the highest standard of customer services with a personal touch. Our associates can help you with personal loans, personal lines of credit, a variety of mortgage loans, and more. And we offer real-time internet banking too. See us in South Pittsburgh, Jasper, and Whitwell today. Citizens Tri-County Bank, the only community bank Marion Countyans will ever need. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Doing your taxes yourself is just not a good idea, especially with changes in the Affordable Care Act and college tax implications. Nancy Anderton at NL Tax and Bookkeeping has been serving the Tri-State area since 1978. Let NL Tax and Bookkeeping use their knowledge and expertise to get you the correct refund fast. Ask about direct deposit and fast returns. NL Tax and Bookkeeping is open 8:30 to 6 Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, and 8:30 to 2 Eastern on Saturday. 500 Alabama Highway 73, 7 miles from downtown Trenton. Call today at 657-4758 or 597-2829. Friend us on Facebook at NL Tax for the latest tax information.
You like bluegrass? How about the High Lonesome Hayride? Sunday nights at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on KWN-TV. Back to Sheriff Talk, and we are talking cornbread.
Cornbread already.
Well, last year you told me about the Cornbread Alley, and I remember going down and getting the best cornbread that down there on all the different ones you get is the one that's got the chocolate chips in it. I don't know who makes that, but I hope they're back again.
I've got to work. I got captured other day. I went in the bank, and one of the girls works there. It's over cornbread. When do you want to work? And I said, just put me down for a Sunday, because I think I'm going to work from 10 to 2. I usually hand it out. I'm not very.
Oh yeah, you really
had to cook it last year, and then I learned how to cook cornbread. I never had cooked it, but it amazes me though on Cornbread Alley. They'll be lined up for half a mile back.
That's good stuff. I'm telling you.
You know, and you get probably there's about 10 or 12 organizations, and you get a piece of cornbread at each one of them. Then the good thing about it, when you get to the end of it, you can vote on it, and whatever organization gets the most vote, I think the Cornbread Festival gives them a $1,000 donation, like the different organizations. I can't call them all right now, but you know, it helps our organization get that extra $1,000. I think it's $1,000, maybe $500, but they do get a little extra if they're the winning. If the people vote and they win the contest.
All right. Well, that sounds great.
And you told me Ricky Skaggs was going to be there.
Ricky Skaggs was just announced, and Kentucky Thunder is going to be one of the. That's pretty cool. I saw that the other day. I think that'll be good.
And they've got that thing down to a fine art too, as far as putting their barricades certain places. They've done it for so many years that it works good.
Well, that sounds good. We're going to have a show coming up and invite some of the organizers, and I know there's a law enforcement aspect of when you get 25 or 30,000 people in a small little area there, you got to have some kind of organization going on to make everybody safe and happy. And I know Puckett EMS does a good job.
The favorite part of they have him there every year is the guy that imitates Barney Fife. I don't know if you've ever seen him or not. He's got the card.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He'll go through and write people tickets. He looks just like him, man. But
you can deputize him before to make it legal.
I actually talked to him a couple of years ago, and he actually was a law enforcement officer down in Georgia somewhere.
Wow.
And he retired, and his appearance was similar to the character that Barney played, that if you don't really look at him, you think it's him. So he's always there every year. I don't know if he'll be there this year, but he does a good job. Kids love him.
And speaking of a good job, y'all did a great job. We appreciate you coming on again, and did a good informative show. I hope you enjoyed it at home. Join us again next week, as we have to say goodbye now, but we'll see you next week. Sheriff Bo Burnett with Marion County and Lieutenant Hughes, thank y'all for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you next week right here on Sheriff Talk. You've been watching Sheriff Talk, live from the studios of KWN-TV7, all around the tri-state area, as we give you information that you can use concerning law enforcement. Join us again next week for another episode of Sheriff Talk, a public affairs program of KWN-TV7.